Today on Aging Untold, keeping secrets.
One of the first things they'll say is, well, I've been falling and please don't tell my daughter.
We go in depth on older adults who hide their struggles and the dangers those secrets can create. Then, a deadly infection.
I asked God, out of all things, why this? Why not a stroke?
She lost her limbs, but found her voice. We'll share one woman's fight for survival and her mission to protect others. And later, this senior's secret to longevity doesn't come in a bottle.
I feel that laughter is so important when you get older.
We explore the role of humor in healthy aging. Experts with advice and solutions. You're watching Aging Untold with Aging Well Coach Catherine Ambrose, gerontologist Sam Craddock, aging expert Amy O'Rourke, and board-certified physician Dr. Ray Rogers. We're all getting older. It's about time we talked about it.
Welcome to Aging Untold. When facing tough times, hiding your troubles can be a natural reaction. But for some aging loved ones, keeping secrets can be a desperate attempt to control an uncontrollable situation, which can become dangerous. Sam, beyond the desire for independence, what are the deeper fears driving older adults to hide things from their families?
Well, you have to understand that the minute I tell you something's wrong, you're going to rush in here like the cavalry or a knight in shining armor, and you're going to take over everything. And I'm going to completely and totally lose control of my entire life. I don't want to be a burden. That is the thing I hear so frequently. And there's so much shame that we have tied to just normal aging things. We have tied any kind of decline, any kind of need for assistance, and we've made it feel like you're less. You're less of a human because you can't do everything yourself. And so why do I want to be less? So I'm just not going to tell you any of these things are going on. I'm not going to let you know that maybe I'm having a bladder leakage or I'm having accidents. I'm not going to let you know that my driving's questionable. I'm certainly not going to let you know that I'm not paying my bills on time, because then you're going to tell me I can't do this anymore and I have to move.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to start to question you. When people start to question them, they get kind of defensive, and you'll start to get other answers like, well, I don't know, I don't remember, or they're very defensive. Or sometimes you have to just take a look and see kind of what's going on. Pay attention to little clues. Mm-hmm. You know, my grandmother was still driving and going to pick up all of her friends in Chicago, and we would see all these dings and dents and we would say, well, she was like, I don't know why somebody keeps hitting my...
Somebody keeps hitting my car.
And we were like, okay. So you have to just start paying attention. These little clues are there. And I think I would take it for myself, pretty fearful if I realize that I'm starting to lose some things.
Sure.
That's kind of a scary situation to be in.
It's very scary. I mean, I've got another example that this woman couldn't handle her own money. I was visiting with her, and she said, I have a whole money management system. And I said, well, tell me what it is. Show me what's involved. So she opened up her dishwasher.
Oh. All right.
And she had all her financial records. Everything was in there, the credit cards. And I sat there and I told her how impressed I was with her system. You know, so I think validating how they're doing is really important to acknowledge, you know, your system's working. Can I just tweak a few things so I make sure you're protected? So you want to start small.
A lot of times when people in my profession go over and take a look at the house, take a look at the stuff, to talk to them about a plan for everything in the future, one of the first things they'll say is, well, I've been falling and please don't tell my daughter. Mm-hmm. And so I think, oh my goodness, I wouldn't want my family member to tell strangers what's going on. I mean, good thing they're telling somebody, but to feel like they couldn't tell me. The truth is, when you start falling and things start happening, that's not going to be a secret for very long. And so we might as well just pull up our big girl pants and have a real discussion with family, the people that need to know. And if not your family, who? And be thinking about who can you start preparing to help you when you're maybe no longer able, when you need more assistance. And that fear holds people back. And you'd mentioned too, like, I'm afraid that they're going to make me move. Well, sometimes moving could be the best thing that ever happened, but you don't know that because you're afraid and you don't know what it would look like. And so really what you need is more information, getting more information so that you and family members have better ideas on how life could be better.
I think understanding what some of the, I call them Easter eggs, because it's oftentimes an Easter egg hunt with our age community. And so what are some of the common Easter eggs? What are some of the common things that the falls, absolutely, the dings in the car. But then if you're hearing the memory lapses, well, I'm just tired, or I forgot. I just forgot. If you're hearing those kind of things frequently, we've got something else going on. Incontinence. You walk into a house and you're starting to smell urine, there's something going on. You can be inquiring. You do not come across as an interrogator and be, accusatory. Missing meds. So keep an eye on your loved one's meds, even if they're managing themselves, because that's where the most common mistakes happen, and that causes the falls that cause the hospitalizations. Financial confusion, not getting their mail, not opening mail, not paying bills on time, and then any kind of weight loss. Empty refrigerators or refrigerators that have a hoard of spoiled food. And we see both ends of the spectrum. So you got to watch those, but everybody's so afraid of having somebody else take over. So we have to normalize. We have to normalize what happens in aging, and we got to reduce the shame.
And the other thing too is you're trying to do this balancing between safety and dignity.
Yes.
But the safety is important to us, the dignity is important to them, but they can coexist, and we have to try to find a way to identify what's going on and give them help before we're forced to make a decision to involve them.
Coming up, fires, hurricanes, earthquakes, tornadoes. Disaster can strike without warning.
Know the evacuation route, something that simple, because in a panic you might not remember where you're supposed to drive.
And being prepared may look different the older we are. What you can do now to be ready for the next emergency. But first, what starts as a simple illness can become a deadly infection.
I felt like the worst labor pains with no anesthesia.
We uncover the toxic response of sepsis that stole one woman's limbs and her inspiring fight to save others.
Sepsis is a life-threatening infection that can happen to anyone. Caught early, most patients recover fully, but others lose limbs and face lasting disability. Tisha Powell meets a Louisiana grandmother who survived sepsis and now uses her story to help others.
With practice and patience.
It feels pretty secure.
It does.
Good.
Each stroke of the pen serves as a testament to Chris Davenport's journey.
We're going to try again.
On this day, the Louisiana grandmother learns the intricacies of writing her signature.
That's so good. That's so good.
However, in March of 2022, another event nearly erased the life she knew.
Oh God, that day I got up preparing to take my grandkids to school.
Chris admits much of that day is a blur, but seared into her memory are the severe stomach pains that propelled her into a panic.
The first time that you felt pain, it was unbearable. Describe the pain that you felt the first time.
Oh my God, I felt like the worst labor pains with no anesthesia.
An ambulance took her to the hospital where she was treated in the emergency room. ER doctors diagnosed her with an intestinal issue. They gave her medication for her symptoms and sent her home.
I do remember the doctor in the hospital giving me something for pain and nausea, and it stopped.
Her relief was only temporary. The next morning, Chris says the intense stomach pain returned, but this time it looked different.
My family told me that my stomach blew up like I was 8 months pregnant.
Fewer than 24 hours after her first ER visit, she says her condition had deteriorated into the final and most severe stage of sepsis, called septic shock. Doctors had to place her into a medically induced coma.
Every hour that somebody is septic and they're not being treated, their mortality rate is going up by 8%.
Dr. Mark Laperouse is the chief of emergency medicine at Our Lady of the Lake Regional Medical Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He didn't treat Chris, but says sepsis causes the body to have an extreme and dangerous reaction to an infection.
Your body is trying to fight that infection, so as a result, it ramps up and creates a big inflammatory response.
And that inflammatory response can lead to one of the most serious impacts of sepsis: amputations. In Chris's case,
Take this off and then put back on.
doctors had to amputate both her hands and feet. Less than a year after her amputations, Chris received prosthetic legs. And Chris continues to make strides. Chris takes hold of her new reality by raising awareness about sepsis and limb loss. She wrote a book titled All of a Sudden, which addresses the obstacles she faced during her recovery and how she rebuilt her life. Another event she hopes will inspire others to rewrite their story and overcome life's challenges.
Now, it feels good, and to be honest, at first I was mad. Like, now I wouldn't have it any other way.
So dangerous, and this happens to people of every age.
It does.
And oftentimes people will be at home or go home, and then that's when they get themselves in trouble. And if you don't act fast enough, it's devastating.
Yeah.
It's very immediate and it's very time sensitive. And I think you have to remember that when we have people who are older, their immune system is not very
That's right.
strong anyway. And if they have underlying medical conditions, we have an additional problem. And many times they don't show up as fever. They show up as fatigue or falls or confusion. So it's very hard to even know what's going on, but it's so critical to catch it early.
I've had 2 clients that I've lost to sepsis over UTIs
Wow.
in my career, and something so curable, so easy to manage if you catch it early.
UTI meaning urinary tract
Urinary
infection.
tract infection.
Thank you,
Yes.
Dr. Ray.
Thank you. So, but yes, it's very serious, and I'm sure you've seen things too, Amy.
Oh, it's scary. It's scary. I think what I'm struck with is when she said I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, here she is, went through this profoundly scary, devastating event. She wouldn't have it any other way, and she's giving back.
Right.
And I like to think, like, what could I have done differently if that were me? What could I have done differently? Like, should they have been given an antibiotic? Like, I've got a lot of questions that I'm going to talk to my doctor about.
Yeah. It's amazing. Sometimes your lowest points can really put you on your mission.
Coming up, this group of seniors is not only sharing time together, they're spreading the best medicine. More than just space, but a hefty laugh. How a weekly joke-off is inspiring connection and good health. But first, getting ready before the next natural disaster hits.
In Florida, I had a gal that said, I just go to Georgia to spend time with during the high hurricane season.
Why planning for older adults can sometimes go far beyond a basic emergency kit. You can watch Aging Untold anytime online. Go to aginguntold.com or subscribe to the Aging Untold YouTube channel for more.
Welcome back. Emergency preparedness takes on a whole new meaning as we age. For many older adults, the simple go bag isn't enough, and their plans face unique challenges and crucial decisions when disaster looms. Sam, why is emergency planning so different for older people?
Older people have more needs, and older people move slower and process things slower. They've lived in the house forever. You've got a natural disaster. It's happened 25 other times. The hurricanes have come, the fires have come, and I'm still standing. So I'm not believing it. The problem is in a disaster, if you don't have a plan, you don't have a caregiver, because the plan is your caregiver at that point. You've got to have a plan, and you've got to be prepared, regardless of how many times in the past you've survived it.
Right, and maybe to your point, having a plan regardless of where you live. Like, just pretend that you need to plan for in case of an emergency and have all your ducks in a row, like your medicine, like your phone numbers that you people you need to call, who's going to pick you up. In Florida, I had a gal that said, I just go to Georgia to spend time with during the high hurricane season.
I love that. And so that's a really good point. Also, the Spiral of Life is a really great thing, something like this that you can put on the refrigerator that has a list of your medications, your emergency contacts, your essential documents that give first responders and hospitals instructions. This is a good thing to have on your fridge because emergency responders will look for it. You could also have something like that on your person and in your glove box.
I think it's really important. I think people miss the boat. Certain things that we need to plan for, and really preparation in advance is key. And so many people, if they're pregnant, they have that bag by the door.
That's right.
But they don't think of catastrophes and things like that that are unpredictable.
Right.
Getting ready for that. Sometimes they're thinking, oh, I don't want to plan for the worst thing, the worst outcome. But it's just taking a look at different things and say, what would I need? I need to have a photo. I need to have maybe a to-go bag. I have to have documents.
Medicine.
Medicine, and the list. And then if you have with the family, where are we going? Have a conversation in advance of this is where we're going to evacuate to, so that everybody can meet up and have a system in place. And everybody may not have that system. Everybody hasn't planned, and that's okay because now you know the things to look for now, and you can start today.
No, and know the evacuation route, something that simple, because in a panic you might not remember where you're supposed to drive.
Up next, it may make you laugh.
What did the dentist say to the elephant? Tuscaloosa.
Or roll your eyes. We visit a comedy group of seniors who share jokes, share laughs, and share something deeper. Find more Aging Untold content on your favorite social platform. You can follow Aging Untold on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok now.
Laughter is a great form of stress relief, and that's no joke. A hearty chuckle strengthens the immune system, boosts mood, diminishes pain, and protects from the damaging effects of stress. For older adults, laughter can have a positive effect on mental outlook and well-being. David Andrews introduces us to a senior in Michigan, inspiring her friends with a healthy dose of humor.
It's just weird to see you in person.
4 senior citizens walk into a community center. Sounds like the start of a joke, right? But here at the Hannah Community Center, it's the seniors who are telling them.
Abby, you have a joke?
I told the nurse I was bitten by a wolf. Where? She asked. No, regular.
For 1 hour, every Tuesday morning.
Who wants to go next?
Seniors share the silly.
What did the dentist say to the elephant? Tuscaloosa.
This hour-long laugh fest is called What's So Funny?
I think when I retire, I'm going to have a horse farm. And I'll name it Pasture Prime.
It's a weekly wisecracking session that came from the hilarious head.
We'll have a joke off.
At the head of the table, Judy Wattenberg.
I said, how you doing? He says, well, I got up with arthritis. I said, that's interesting. I went to bed with Ben Gay. I feel that laughter is so important when you get older. Does anybody know whose phone this is? Older people don't really have things that make them laugh. You could create a joke.
She started the pun-filled program 8 years ago for seniors she refers to as elderly orphans.
An older person that may not have anybody to help them or to talk to, a family.
And laughter?
And laughter helps because you're connecting with somebody.
The sailboat won the race, but it was obviously cheating. Everyone could see it was rigged.
Oh.
From groans to guffaws.
And then,
Judy says politics is generally off limits, but poking fun at themselves is not.
I appreciate as I get older, I can multitask better. Now I can sneeze and pee at the same time.
Old people need jokes are funny, and people don't realize that.
A pirate walks into a bar with a paper towel on his head. Bartender says, "What's with the paper towel?" Pirate replies, "Arr, I got a bounty on me head."
And she was bound and determined to leave this reporter laughing with the one about the husband who called his wife about his new prescription for Viagra.
Honey, we're going to have super sex tonight. She said, okay, I'll have the soup.
They say laughter's the best medicine, right?
Exactly. Another great example of someone doing good for others, and that lifts you up too when you are out to lift others.
I love that she could sneeze and pee at the same time.
I know. When we talk about the seniors and all that, these are things that you can implement. I know for my dad, if he hears the song Patches, he just smiles. So, these are things that we can insert into the daily.
Oh, I love that.
I do
love
too.
that.
Doctor's orders. Doctor's orders.
My husband and I love to go see comedians. It's something we
yeah.
just love it. And I was thinking about that. I thought, take it on the road. Take some videos and share that, and just because there are so many funny things I hear from older people.
We're all getting older, and it's about time we talk about it. Until next time on Aging Untold.
On the next Aging Untold, finding your next home with no regrets.
What's the nursing staff supervision like? Who's the director? Is there a director of nursing? How many doctors come into the community?
We'll reveal the essential questions to ask, helping you secure the ideal assisted living community and avoid any surprises.